How to know you're being manipulated right now, 5 body signals. Introduction, your body finds out first. Here is a fact that changes how you defend yourself. Your body detects manipulation before your mind does, often minutes before, sometimes months. Long before you can articulate, "This person is exploiting me," your shoulders have already tensed in their presence, your stomach has already tightened at their name on your phone, and your breathing has already gone shallow in their kitchen. The evidence was filed. You just never read the reports. This is not mysticism, it is architecture. The oldest parts of your nervous system evolved to detect threat in other living creatures, incongruence between a smile and the eyes, between soothing words and predatory posture. These systems run constantly, below consciousness, and they publish their findings the only way they can, through the body. Muscle tension. Gut sensations. Breath. Fatigue. The problem is that modern people are trained to override these reports. We are taught to be polite, to give benefit of the doubt, to distrust irrational feelings. Manipulators exploit precisely this gap, the space between what your body knows and what your mind is willing to admit. The skill this article teaches is closing that gap. Not becoming paranoid, not treating every flutter as an alarm, but learning to read 5 specific bodily signals as data, cross-check them against circumstances, and act on the findings. Your mind can be argued with, confused, gaslit. Your body cannot be talked out of what it registers. That makes it the one witness the manipulator can never recruit. Signal 1, the post-contact drain. The first and most reliable signal appears after the interaction ends. You hang up the phone, leave the meeting, close the door, and discover you are exhausted. Not the pleasant tiredness of effort, but a drained, flattened, hollowed-out feeling, as though something was extracted. Often the conversation was objectively unremarkable, no fight, no crisis, just talk. And yet you need to lie down. This drain is the metabolic bill for invisible labor. Throughout the interaction, your systems were working at emergency capacity, monitoring the other person's shifting moods, editing your words to avoid triggering them, processing guilt and confusion, suppressing responses you sensed were unsafe to express. None of this labor is visible, which is why the exhaustion seems to come from nowhere. It doesn't. It comes from an hour of high-alert performance that healthy interactions simply do not require. The diagnostic practice: for 2 weeks, rate your energy from 1 to 10 immediately after contact with the people closest to you, every call, every visit, every long text exchange. You are not judging anyone yet, you are collecting data. Most people discover the pattern within days, the numbers cluster. Certain people reliably leave you at 7 or 8. 1 or 2 leave you at 3, every time, regardless of topic. That consistency is the finding. Individual bad days happen to everyone, a person who is always a drain is not a coincidence. They are a cost center, and your body has been paying the invoice for years. Signal 2, the stomach verdict. The gut is not a poetic metaphor for intuition. It is dense with neurons and wired directly into your threat assessment systems, which is why fear, dread, and moral disgust register there physically. And the gut delivers one particular verdict with remarkable precision, the clench that arrives at the mere prospect of contact with a specific person. Learn to catch it at its 3 trigger points. First, their name appears on your screen, and before any thought forms, something in your abdomen drops or tightens. Second, you remember an upcoming meeting with them, and the tightness arrives days in advance. Third, the subtlest, you feel a wave of relief when they cancel. Read that last one carefully, because relief is the signal people most often misinterpret as random good mood. Relief at a cancellation is your body celebrating the removal of a threat it had been bracing for. Bodies do not celebrate the removal of things that are good for you. Now apply the honesty test. List the 5 most frequent contacts in your life and observe, honestly, what your stomach does as you imagine each name arriving on your phone. Most names produce nothing, or warmth. If one name reliably produces the clench, and especially if it also produces the cancellation relief, you have identified a relationship your body has already classified. The classification may have explanations other than manipulation, old conflict, plain incompatibility. But in a relationship where you also cannot say why you feel dread, where the person is officially wonderful and you feel guilty for the clench, the gap between the official story and the stomach verdict is itself the strongest evidence. Manipulation is precisely the art of keeping the official story wonderful while the extraction runs underneath. Signal 3, the eggshell posture. The third signal lives in your muscles and your motor behavior, and other people can often see it before you feel it. In the presence of a manipulator, your body organizes itself around one imperative: do not trigger them. Shoulders rise and roll forward. The jaw sets. Your voice drops in volume and rises in pitch. You sit smaller, gesture less, laugh carefully. Family members describe the household version perfectly without any psychology degree: walking on eggshells. Watch for the motor symptoms too, because they are measurable. You rehearse sentences before saying them, actually running drafts in your head to pre-test their safety. You reread ordinary texts 3 times before sending. You time your requests, waiting for the right mood. You find yourself moving quietly through your own home when they are in it. Each behavior is individually small, together they describe a person living in a low-grade defensive crouch, expending continuous muscular and cognitive effort on threat management. The comparison test makes this signal vivid. Notice your body in the presence of your safest person, an old friend, a grandmother, whoever lets you fully exhale. Notice the sprawl, the loose gestures, the unedited speech, the volume of your real laugh. That is your baseline. Now notice your body around the person in question. The distance between those two bodies, the safe one and the braced one, is a precise physical measurement of what the relationship costs you. Healthy relationships all cluster near the baseline. A relationship that keeps you in the crouch is telling you, through every raised shoulder, that some part of you has classified this person as a hazard. The crouch does not lie. It has no motive to. Signal 4, the fog. The fourth signal is cognitive, but you experience it physically, a distinctive mental fog that descends during conversations with one particular person. You enter the discussion with a clear point, a specific grievance, a simple request, and within minutes you are disoriented. You cannot remember your argument. You lose the thread. Simple words evade you. Afterward, alone, your clarity returns almost instantly, and you think of everything you should have said. People interpret this fog as their own inadequacy. I'm just bad at arguing, I get flustered. Reframe it. Fog that appears with one person and vanishes in their absence is not a property of your brain, it is a property of the interaction. It has 2 sources, often combined. The first is cognitive overload by design, the word salad, the topic switching, the counter-accusations and rewritten history that manipulative conversation deploys are genuinely, measurably harder to process than honest speech. Your working memory is being flooded on purpose. The second is threat physiology. Under perceived attack, blood flow shifts away from the reasoning centers of the brain. You literally think worse when your alarm system is firing, and the manipulator's tone, timing, and history with you keep that alarm firing continuously. The countermeasure follows directly from the mechanism: never conduct important negotiations inside the fog. Write your point down before the conversation, 1 sentence on a card if necessary. When the fog descends, that is not a cue to try harder, it is a cue to stop. I'm not finishing this now. We'll continue tomorrow. Manipulators hate this move with wonderful intensity, because the fog was the venue, and you have just refused to play in it. Signal 5, the body's long ledger. The final signal is the slowest and the most serious: what chronic exposure does to your baseline health. Sleep degrades, you wake at 3 a.m. replaying conversations. Appetite swings. Headaches and back tension become routine. Old conditions flare. You get every cold going around. You describe yourself as always tired lately, and blame work, age, the weather. The body keeps a ledger, and sustained defensive living, months or years of the drain, the clench, the crouch, and the fog, is written into it as chronic stress load, with all its documented consequences for immunity, sleep, digestion, and mood. This is the signal people miss precisely because it no longer looks like a signal, it looks like life. The eggshell walk has become your normal gait. You cannot compare against a baseline because you cannot remember the baseline. 2 probes cut through. First, the vacation test. Notice what happens to your sleep, appetite, and headaches when you are 10 days away from a specific person. Bodies often heal with embarrassing speed the moment the load lifts, and that speed is diagnostic. Second, the timeline test. Sit down with a calendar and mark when "always tired lately" actually began. People are routinely stunned to find the date coincides with a relationship, a job, a particular person's arrival. The ledger has dates in it. Read them. Conclusion: believing the witness. 5 signals, 1 witness: the drain after contact, the stomach's verdict before it, the eggshell posture during it, the fog inside the hard conversations, and the long ledger of your health underneath it all. None of them, alone, convicts anyone. Bodies also react to innocent things: stress, memories, coffee. The method is never one signal, but convergence. When 3 or 4 point steadily at the same person, across weeks, your oldest and least corruptible detection system has completed its report. The real work, then, is not detection, the detection is already done. The real work is believing the witness. Every person stuck in a manipulative relationship has felt these signals and overruled them, usually with the same prosecutor's arguments: "I'm too sensitive. It's probably me. They mean well. Look how nice they were on Tuesday." Understand that this overruling is not neutral, it is the manipulation working. The entire method depends on your mind out-arguing your body, and your mind can be supplied with arguments endlessly. Your body cannot be lobbied. It just keeps filing the same report, year after year, waiting for you to read it. One practical tool ties all 5 signals together: a body journal. Nothing elaborate, a note on your phone. After significant interactions, 3 entries: who, energy score, and any physical sensations, 1 line each. 2 minutes a day. Within a month you will own something almost no one has: an objective dataset about your own life, immune to charm, gaslighting, and your own generous rationalizations. When your mind says, "It's probably fine," the journal answers with dates and numbers. Fog cannot argue with a spreadsheet. So start reading. Track the energy numbers. Notice the name that clenches the stomach. Catch the crouch, call the fog, date the ledger. You are not being asked to accuse anyone, leave anyone, or change anything today. You are being asked only to stop dismissing evidence, to give the one witness who has never lied to you, and never will, the standing it always deserved. Clarity comes first. Everything else follows from there, at whatever pace you choose, on ground that, for the first time in a long time, will actually hold.